We're going to reach into the questions from viewers folder, and I see that I've got a question from Rachel, and Rachel asks, I attended your interview class and applied your strategy to the interview I recently had. I just found out today that I have a follow-up interview. It's a completely new panel except for the hiring manager. I have a few questions I was hoping you could help with. Should I reuse my introduction and closing from the first round of interviews or try to modify them? And should I have additional questions for the panel? I reached out to the hiring manager prior to applying and asked questions during the first interview. Let's talk about your first question, reusing your introduction and closing statement. Obviously, if you've got a follow-up interview, they were probably pretty good. So right off the top of my head, I'm thinking, yeah, go ahead and reuse them. But there's one qualifier there. How many people interviewed the first time? If you've got 5 or 6 or 7 people you were competing against, I doubt very seriously that the hiring manager, who will be the only person on the panel again the second time, or the only repeat person on the panel, I doubt very seriously that they're going to remember exactly what you said. So reusing them would not hurt you. Now, if you were only competing in the first round against 1 or 2 people, then I'd probably say you might want to change them, but change them only slightly. So I would say go back to that answer and see, is there any way that you can improve it? Don't change it wholesale, but just modify it slightly if, in fact, there were only 2 or 3 people that you competed against the first time. So now it's changed up a little bit. I really wouldn't worry about it too much, though. I doubt very seriously that the hiring manager is going to remember that. And even if they do remember it, you know what? They're probably going to say, yeah, that was a good answer the first time around, and it's a good answer now. The second question that Rachel asked was, should she ask additional questions in the second interview, even though she already talked to the hiring manager and asked several questions in the first interview? And my answer, let me put it this way. I'm going to say an absolute no if you do not believe they valued your questions in the first interview. You don't believe they expect you to ask any questions in the second interview. And if you don't really have any questions that are unanswered, then it's a definite no. But I doubt very seriously you're going to get a check mark next to all 3 of those things that I said. I expect the second panel will expect Rachel to ask a question. And I also expect they will value her answer. But it doesn't appear that she has anything new to ask about. She has already had all of her questions answered. So what do? One of the things that you can do is take something that they gave you as an answer to one of your questions in the first interview and ask, has any of that changed? So if in her first interview she said, if I were to get this job, how would you expect I would spend my first 90 days? And they gave her that answer. She can then say, now in the last interview, you said if I was fortunate enough to get this job, I would spend my first 90 days focused on these things. Has any of that changed, or is that the same as it was from the last interview? And that way, you're asking a question, and you're asking a question that is relevant. That's my tip for today. For other tips on interviewing, check out my brand new book and online course. I'll put links in the description below to both of those. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. That really helps us out. I'll see you right back here next Tuesday for my next video. Till then, stay safe. Have a great week. See ya.